Annette Alvarez, Executive Director, Global Ties Miami. Global Ties is a really unique organization. We have an opportunity to introduce people from around the world to the U.S. through connections with people and places in South Florida. Mm-hmm. We're one of 90 or so networks across the country that share the fact we work on one of the State Department's premier exchange programs called the International Visitor Leadership Program. Mm-hmm. It is what U.S. ambassadors rank as their #1 tool for public diplomacy year after year and year again. Mm-hmm. And we've been doing this work since 1959. Mm-hmm. Global Ties Miami is a new name. It's a 2-year-old name. And before that, we were Miami Council for International Visitors. I maintain our relationship, if you will, in the present with Global Ties US, mm-hmm. which is our national organization of which we're a member. Relationships with the State Department and other agencies that send these international visitors to us, and also, I guess, being out in the public here in the community, letting people know what it is we do, and then managing a great team here. So there were 2 groups that were starting it in the late 50s. They were international students at the YMCA. Okay. They were going to school and they were going to the Y. Mm-hmm. And there was a gentleman there who saw them doing that every single day. And he said, these poor guys, they haven't had a chance to see Miami. Mm-hmm. So he called his friends and said, would you take them, invite them to dinner, take them sightseeing, give them a chance to understand where they are. And then there was another group on Miami Beach. Frances Wolfson was the First Lady of Miami Beach when Colonel Wolfson was mayor. And they were a little more high society, entertaining a lot of people from around the world. And in the early 60s, these 2 groups merged to start formalizing and supporting State Department exchanges. And the timing was right, because in late 1959, I believe it was when President Eisenhower said, we're going to have to do these people-to-people things. Government can only do so much. So mm-hmm. the last part is going to have to be via handshake to handshake.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what led you to become involved in Global Ties?
Living in New Orleans, my husband and I were dating, and we were invited to dinner at the home of some of his friends, mm-hmm. and the 5th guest was the Minister of Textiles for India. Mm-hmm. So it was amazing. And you think, when do you meet people like this? Mm-hmm. Shortly after we married, they said, you must join, because this is one of these word-of-mouth kind of organizations. And we did, and from then on, we used to entertain people for dinner. Mm-hmm. I'd get a call, would you have these Taiwanese businessmen over for dinner, and mm-hmm. certainly fix some jambalaya bread pudding and do that. Mm-hmm. And then moving to Miami, when we did in 1999, we got involved at about 2000, year 2000. We're feeling our way and getting more involved in the community, and someone came up to us and said, I'm impressed. You only lived here a year, and how is it that you're getting involved, and why are you doing it? And so he starts telling us about this amazing organization, and we stopped him and I said, well, we know that. We were members in New Orleans. So mm-hmm. I ended up getting on the board. Then I was invited to join the board. I think he really wanted my husband, but he got me, because I was the one that had the time. And so we got on the board, and then when I was transitioning off the board as president, we were having a little difficulty finding an executive director. And, mm-hmm. and the joke, and it's a little bit of a joke, is we needed someone to work full-time for part-time pay. So
of course.
It is a nonprofit. And I was the gal. So okay. I've been executive director now 11 years. A lot of innovation comes from people coming from around the world. Mm-hmm. And those that come here and make this place their home contribute to our country, as it's been since the formation of this country. Mm-hmm. Now, the people that we're meeting on a daily basis and that we're working with, they're coming at the invitation of the State Department, and they're only here for a short while. Mm-hmm. And for them to see our community, and essentially the U.S., because they're here for 3 weeks in the U.S., maybe Miami for just a few days, it's a chance to see it without the filters, mm-hmm. without, the media, interfering with their perception, and they get to come and make up their own mind. Mm-hmm. And we get to do the same thing about them. I remember a former deputy of the elections office here in Miami-Dade County, who, when I thanked her for meeting with the group the day before, she said, it's interesting that you would call me. She said, meeting this woman from Yemen who works in education, and that morning they were talking about Yemen and what was happening on the news, and she said, she's nothing like a terrorist. And it sounds very simple, but it happens all the time. I mean, mostly we hear a lot of crashing because it's stereotypes being just broken. And that's what we get a chance to do. And I think that's what's vitally important, because when people come at this invitation, they're people, getting ahead of myself, but they go back with a more nuanced view of the U.S. that can help advance things that are important to us as a country, and for them as well. That each U.S. embassy has an opportunity to invite people on this program. And they'll do it based on what they need or want to assist with in country. It may be entrepreneurship for women in certain countries. We just had a project on African women entrepreneurs. It may be people that are fighting drug trafficking or trafficking in persons. So that's how they do it, and they do it because this early to mid-career individual is being noticed for their work. And that's how they extend the invitation, and then eventually these people come. So there are two demographics, I would think. The one for the international visitor is between the ages of early 20s to about 45. That's who they're inviting and allowing to participate. Here, with our membership and people that are attracted to the work we do, there's really no age limit. I mean, it's multi-generational. We have young people at universities who are local universities who go, oh my God, I didn't know we had this kind of program here, and that I could somehow be involved as an intern. We do a lot on combating international crime, and it's really important, and we're very fortunate to have people here in our community that are doing amazing jobs at combating money laundering, drug trafficking. So the institutions, right? U.S. Attorney's Office, the local police departments, task forces. So those are always vitally important, because you know how important that knowledge that's shared can be on both sides. The ones we're getting excited about are the ones that have to do with women's entrepreneurship from around the world. Knowing that women, through being empowered and having a business, raises their stature is incredible. And there are some amazing women doing very creative things with very limited resources. And so we like those. And we like this entrepreneurship, because I know from meeting so many people that education is vitally important, no matter where you are, but then you need opportunities, and you need opportunities in your own communities. So people that are forging ahead as entrepreneurs and that are now employing other people, it's a really wonderful thing to see and be part of.